Alright guys, I am back. I got a bunch of great feedback from my last video. People were giving me advice on how to correct the steering on this truck. And they all have some interesting ideas. So let's go over a few of them, okay? Idea one is that maybe my axles aren't parallel in the truck. Okay? This tire here looks pretty good. But when you come around to the driver's side, that tire is sitting back about 3/4 of an inch. So the question is that an issue with the leaf springs, or is something else weird going on here? I guess it doesn't really matter what's going on. I'm going to put some lift springs on this one here. I've got 4-inch flip shackles in the back. So I bought a pair of 4-inch lift springs for the fronts. And so we'll be installing these things here. These were quite the deal. These were only about 80 bucks or so off eBay. I had to buy the bushings separate, but those should be coming in any day now. And yeah, we'll see how these cheap springs work. I've already measured the fender height right now. As you can see, I'm 39 inches from the floor. And I've got a 33-inch tire on here right now, so I will be changing these out to 35s later on. So yeah, we'll see how much lift I get out of these 4-inch springs. Another idea we're going to be looking at, coming around here, okay, is going to be the steering gearbox again. So I adjusted this top adjuster here, and I didn't show it, but I adjusted the back one here as well. But I was told online that I really need to have the tires off the ground, and I need to be rotating this thing back and forth, you know, full lock to lock in order to adjust it properly. So I will be removing the steering shaft, and when I have the tires off for the springs, I'm going to go ahead and go through that box one more time, just to make sure all the play is adjusted out of that. Well, and one more thing, when my wife was turning the steering wheel back and forth, it did seem like I was getting a little bit more play out of this drag link. It's a short little drag link, than I thought I should be getting. So I went ahead and ordered 2 new Moog rod ends here, and I'll use the factory adjuster. And we'll be installing that as well after I get them painted up nice and green to match the rest of the suspension, and we'll see if that makes a difference as well. Like I said, this will be a great time to work on the steering box because a lot of the stuff will be just disconnected. And lastly, we're going to be looking inside this hub here. One guy says that these U-joints, if they're binding, if they're locking up, will make the steering super jerky as you're turning. And although that's hard for me to believe, that was the symptom that I was experiencing. So I'm going to pull these off again and double check those U-joints. I had it off before to change out the brake hubs or something. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, let's pull this thing apart again. Let's make sure everything is still good in there. Alright, so I am now dealing with the nightmare that is these steering arms. I gotta get this thing here off so I can put on my raised 4-inch steering arm. The steering arms, what do you call it, the drag link that has a little bend in it going up to your gearbox, those things are junk. You know, you don't want to use those. You want to get the correct steering arm for your application. I guess you could do a drop pitman arm as well. As long as you get this and this more horizontal with each other, you're good. Okay, so anyway, what I've done here, oh crud, you guys can see this. I've pretty much chiseled the outside of these conical bushings off. There's still a little bit on this back one here. But they're not moving at all. I've been hitting them with my torch but still nothing yet. Okay, yeah, it's hard to get this metal super hot because it's intimately connected to this larger piece down here, and the heat just moves so quickly. So even when I have the torch on cutting mode, it's hard to get it super hot. I mean, it's hot. You know, it's a lot more than you could ever do with a propane torch, but it's not like glowing red or anything. This is just to protect the rubber. There we go. The rubber around the ball joint. Just a shield for now. These things work really well. I used to use these on my Viper when I was racing, and they will save your ball joint boots. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I've drilled a few holes in these bushings, 3 holes all the way around, and I saw one guy on the internet that had some luck with this. So we're trying that. I'm continuing to soak them with PB Blaster. So I'm going to spray some more PB on there and give them a second night to soak. When I bang on them, I am using this BFH here, and I'm smacking right down here as well as up on top. I don't know if the top is going to do anything, but a lot of people say it helps to lock them loose. You can see I've pounded on the front a little bit as well, but I think the underneath is going to be the key. But like I said, it is just not moving yet. These things are tight, and I really doubt that if I put a couple of nuts on here, if I lock them down, I really doubt I'd be able to turn these things out. I think these conical washers here were just tightened so much that they've kind of worked themselves into the thread of this, and I just don't think they're going to pop out very nicely. So I may have to just go to Home Depot and buy some more 1/8" bits, buy a whole package of them, you know, 6 or 10 or something, and then just start drilling all the way around these things to try to loosen them up. I've got some new ones in order. Cost me about 15 bucks through eBay. If you need to get some, look up Dana 44 conical bushings, and you'll find a better price than if you just type in steering arm or Blazer K5 conical bushings, whatever. So Dana 44 conical bushings. In the meanwhile, this is the drag link here, and it's not horrible. I mean, that one feels pretty tight there. They're not bad, but you know, I saw it move a little bit when I was playing around with the steering, so I am just going to go ahead and replace both ball joints. It's about 50 bucks for the pair. We got the quality Moog ones here. But before I put those on, I'm gonna go ahead and get out my wax and grease remover and some lacquer thinner, and I want to take off the grease here. I'm gonna go ahead and spray these things green to match the rest of the truck. So anyway, first up though is going to be the white epoxy primer to make sure that paint stays in place. All right, well, this is going to be my solution for this suspension here. Like I said before, I think something might be wrong with my leaf springs. I don't think this wheel is properly centered in the chassis. I hope the body's on straight. We'll find that out later. If the body's not on straight, then we'll have to make an adjustment for that later on. But I thought it was straight. But we're going to go ahead and change out these stock front leaves for some 4-inch lift leaves. And I also went ahead and bought some new drag link parts, and they're painted nice and pretty. This is the 4-inch lift for the drag link, and it's going to bolt in right there. Now, for everybody that came to my channel because they wanted to know how to get off the old one, I tell you, this was a bear. I saw all the other YouTube videos out there. They soaked these things in PB Blaster for 2 weeks. They hit it on top, they hit it on bottom with a 15-pound sledge. Nothing I did worked. I worked on this for probably close to 3 weeks. I know, magic of Hollywood, right? I wound up taking a drill bit, an 1/8 inch drill bit, and drilling out these conical bushings. This is how those conical bushings look. So I went with a drill bit and drilled probably 10 or 12 holes all the way around them. Using my oxygen acetylene torch, heating this thing up, banging on this thing above, below. Even with this thing drilled out, I couldn't get this thing off. So then I took my Dremel tool with a 1/8 inch carbide bit, and I'm like hogging around these things, trying to get down in there. And still could not beat this thing off with heat and a 15-pound sledge. What finally did it, stick with me here. So, I'm revealing this secret early in the video. So, in thanks that you don't have to watch the whole video, I would like you to make a comment down below. You can say thank you, that's a great idea, or that's a stupid idea, or you're destroying whatever. But make a comment. Also hit that thumbs up button. Here is my secret. A 3/4 inch hole drill. This 3/4 inch hole drill fit perfectly around the 9/16 inch studs. Doesn't mess the studs up. And it will core out that conical bit almost to the bottom. You'll get to a point where you can actually get a screwdriver and work it out. Once you get the first couple worked out, you can bang on that arm and pop it out. But this is the trick. 3/4 inch hole saw. This is a dual material, so metal and wood. Use lots of drilling oil. Go slowly. Keep going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Keep this thing cool. You'll get it. And then you can pop that thing off. And if you're careful, you won't destroy your own arm. But like I said, I was buying a new arm anyway, so it didn't matter to me. Remember, comment and hit that like button. Alright, well we got the wheels back on, so I'm going to drop this thing back to the ground so we can swap out the front springs. Alright, so with this thing being supported by the lift, I'm going to go ahead and undo the U-bolts, bring the truck back up a little bit, and then we'll take out the springs. There we go. Alright, let's swap these things out. Got a top plate out. That's dirty. Need to clean that. Here you can see the new springs installed with a new arm painted, looking nice and pretty. It's looking good. I still need to install my steering stabilizer, but that's really only needed for high-speed road maneuvers or low-speed off-road maneuvers, not just for putting around the neighborhood. All right, everybody, the Jimmy is back together now. Let me get out of the way so you can check this out. you can kind of see how everything is sitting. Remember, I've got the flipped shackles in the back on the stock leaves, and up front I've got the 4-inch lift springs. So it might be just a little bit higher in the front than the rear, so I'm going to have to put maybe a 1-inch block in the back. But again, these brand new front springs here may settle an inch or so. So I'm actually not going to do anything right now. I'm happy just leaving it as is because I've got clearance for my 35-inch mud trains. And if you'll notice, these are the old KM2s. Don't ask me how I found these. It wasn't easy. But I wanted that white wall look, and I've got them. So it is time for a road test with this Jimmy. But last time, it didn't go so well. I mean, it was barely idling. It was trying to stall. In fact, I think it did stall at the gate on the way back in. So let's go around here. I'll show you what I got to fix that. Right over here. Look at this here. We now have HP tuners, MPVI 3. That's a big 3 if you can't tell. Okay. I used to think that the HP tuners software was only for professional tuning shops. Well, I guess I've been out of the loop for a while because now this stuff is available for anybody. You can now tune your own vehicle just like I do with MicroSquirt. So this is not a huge deal anymore. What you get is you get this cute little plug-in device with for your OBD port, OBD2 only, okay, and a cord to connect to your laptop for when you're ready to program. And yeah, this thing just plugs right in. The software that's available, let's see if I can bring that up here for real quick. You get it. It has a scanner. I can't show it too well because my light. Let me turn my light off. There we go. You have a scanner and an editor, both available for free download from HP Tuners. Using the scanner is free. Well, actually, using the editor is free as well. You just can't flash or save modified files without buying credits. And the credits is how they make sure you don't use this too much. Okay, so for most vehicles, 2 credits or $100 will get you a license to tune that PCM. However, some vehicles, like the latest Dodge Viper, requires, I think, 20 credits, something crazy like that. It's a huge number if you want to tune the brand new Viper. So, you know, like I said, most vehicles about $100, maybe 200 for some of the newer stuff. I think the 01 Corvette is 6 credits, so that's $300. Don't quote me on that, but anyway, let's check this out. So I'm just gonna find my OBD port down here. Let me turn the light back on again. Let's see here. And this thing just plugs in right there. Okay, and well, let's see what's going on here. I thought I would get a light on. Why do I not have a light on? Usually when you plug these things in, these things have 12 volts all the time, which is right here. It's my 12 volt signal. Oh, my battery didn't go dead. And that 12 volt signal is what kicks it on, so it needs to be connected to 12 volts full time. A little bit of a loose cable there, but I don't think that did it. Nothing's popped. Okay, well, let's plug this in and see if it says anything here. Yeah, it's not powering up at all, so I don't think I have power to my device, so let me play with that real quick and I'll be right back. Alright, so I got this thing going here. You see the little green light is on there, which means it's plugged in, but it's not yet communicating with the computer because my ignition is not yet turned on. Alright, so I plugged in the USB, I heard the little chime. The computer recognizes the HP Tuners MPVI3. So let's turn on the ignition. There you go, you hear the fuel pump. And let's connect. Here we go. Going to vehicle connect, and it should show me what I got going on here. Before you do any kind of tuning, you always want to make sure you don't have any error codes anywhere, and that's always a possibility. Okay, so I'm going to scan. Alright, so 0 RPM, engine coolant temperature is at 95 degrees, intake air temperature is at 86. Alright, everything's looking pretty good here. Let's see, voltage, throttle position's at 0%, intake manifold absolute 14.4. This all looks good. Alright, so now we're going to go to the vehicle, and we're going to go to Diagnostics and read DTCs. No DTCs connected, so we are golden. Alright, so we can close out of this, and we can go to our editor software. All right. So I'm not going to go through all the little changes to make to get a cammed engine to run properly, but basically when you put in a larger camshaft into an engine, it doesn't create as much manifold vacuum at idle and low speeds. It becomes less efficient at low speeds, so it can't suck in as much air at low speeds. But the computer is still dumping in the same amount of fuel. So you usually got to back off your fuel a little bit. You actually need to lean it out in order for your cammed engine to run properly. There's a lot of really good videos on YouTube. I suggest go to those videos if you need more instructions. But I'm going to go ahead and make those changes, and then we'll get this thing firing, and we're going to take it on a test drive. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed, and next time you see me, we'll be driving this thing. Thanks for watching.